You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
This is the sports section, and I thought before we get on to any other sport that we have, we're going to ring a man and ask him about a controversial decision over in America during the week. Let's hope he answers the phone. This is Jeff Fenech we're trying to ring.
Hey, Sam.
This is Jeff Fenech on the line now. Thank you very much for joining us, Jeff.
Pleasure, mate.
Just let me say this to the people listening to our podcast, that we're speaking to one of the world's great boxers. People overlook the fact that he was absolutely at the top of the level in any boxing division. And he's had a little controversy in his boxing career with Zuma Nelson and the 1984 Olympics having a semi-final bout awarded the fight in the Summer Olympics of '84, and then having the bout taken off him for some, I have no idea why, but we've got him on the line. Because there was a very controversial decision over in America, Don. Don Scott's with me too, Jeff, and you were very vocal about Andrew Maloney being not awarded the decision against Joshua Franco due to a swollen eye, and he was awarded the fight, and then it was reversed, and you were very vocal about it along with a whole lot of other celebrities. So tell us what's going on, mate, please.
Well, to be honest, it was crap. I mean, he obviously landed a punch. The referee during the round thought it was a head clash, and there's a new law in Nevada that you can go and check to make sure, to verify what your decision is. After the first round, Joshua Franco's eye completely closed, and the second round he couldn't continue after the round finished. And the referee said it was an accidental head clash. They had the opportunity to go and look at the replay, which they did for 30 minutes. Everybody who's seen the replay for 30 minutes, all the boxing experts, former world champions, all said that it was a punch, but they wouldn't reverse the decision. I think it's just something that is really, really sad for the sport of boxing, because the referee made a mistake. All they had to do was, say he made a mistake. We all make mistakes in life, but they wouldn't say that, and they stuck with their decision. And Paul Maloney comes home without the world title, and he's got to wait again now to fight for the world title.
And Jeff, even reviewing it after 30 minutes, that's what you review a tape for. They unanimously agreed that it was a punch in the end, didn't they? And we had people, even the great Helen Mirren, who was at ringside, weighed in, no pun intended, weighed in and said, this is just ridiculous. I know nothing about boxing, but if you have a look at what happened, you could not possibly take the fight off him.
Yeah, well, they had the fight not just on TV but on the screen to try to find it. They sat down, they looked, and really, and nobody could see a headbutt. But like I said, I think these guys sometimes are too proud and just stupid, because it ruins the sport, and they wouldn't reverse the decision. They want to pretend the referee was right, Sam. And like I said, in life, we all make mistakes, and this guy called it wrong, and they could have corrected it and give the kid the world title, which he deserved. He's trained for 5 months. He lost it. He went back over there, done everything he had to do. He scored with a legitimate punch, and he was robbed, which it's really sad. It just ruins the sport of boxing, ruins the credibility.
But Jeff, does this rule only apply in Nevada?
Yeah, well, at the moment, Nevada has the replay. They can watch. You've got a protest. There's some little yellow light at ringside. They put the light on and they go and check to make sure they were correct in their decision. They went and checked, and they, like I said, nobody's seen the head clash. Nobody's seen it. So I don't know how they didn't re-adjudicate it and reverse the decision. But like I said, it's sad. And like here's this kid who I said who's trained his backside off. Sam, next time he fights, he'll fight as a challenger again. He won't get the money that he's worked for. So it's a slur on the sport. It's a real slur on the sport of boxing.
So Jeff, it absolutely smells of corruption, doesn't it? And Unfortunately, this pervades the sport of boxing. It is not well known. It is almost common knowledge that this goes on in this sport probably more than any. Do you think, or is that unfair?
No, 100%, Tim. These guys make mistakes. Tim, if you make a mistake in your job, if you can't do your job, you get the sack. Something happens to you. these officials make mistakes every week and they score the fight wrongly and they ruin people's lives, but they still work the next week. So yeah, to me, it's not good for the sport. It needs to be cleaned up. And well, look, they had the opportunity, Sam, that this guy made a mistake. They was listen. The referee made an honest mistake, fixed it, but they didn't fix it. So now it's a slur on the sport.
So Jeff, as I say, you're no stranger to this yourself. In '84, you fought a Yugoslavian called Red Zapovsky.
Red
Zapovsky, and you were initially given the decision, and then it was reversed. I mean, as I say, you must think, oh, here we go again.
Yeah, like I said, that happened at the Olympics. It was the first time the judges said that I won the fight. The jury said I lost, so they went with the jury. And but like I said, look, that's a long time ago, Sam, and it shouldn't still be happening. That was in '84. It shouldn't be happening in 2020. It should be fixed. And like I said, they've got the technology to make sure it didn't happen. They watched it there for 30 minutes. There wasn't one person in the world that said that there was a headbutt. But they wouldn't reverse their decision. I don't know if they're I don't know. They just want to pretend that they know everything, these referees and so on. But it's not good for the sport.
Jeff, but this has been going, as John just mentioned, he cited your example, but it's subjective. It's up to somebody's opinion. You can't be objective in boxing because it'll finish up, someone will die. So how do you make it fairer when you've got a person's opinion and people realise when they go into box that it is subjective? You're up to somebody's opinion.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. Like I said, what they need to do is that they need to stand up and make an example of somebody and I mean a real example where somebody is kicked out of our sport or something like that, and then people won't do it again. We need to really make a great example of what just happened. Like I said, this kid's trained all his life for this. I mean, there's a difference between getting $1 million for a fight or getting $50,000 for a fight. It's crazy. It's his life.
So this boy, for example, or a fighter, tell me, do you peak for a fight and this is his opportunity? Do you think he can peak again on the second occasion?
Well, they've had 2 fights. So the first fight, Franco won, and he won quite convincingly. But Maloney went home, done all his homework, went back in the ring. And look, although it was only 2 rounds, he was winning. And he was getting on top, and it looked like that. It was going to be a great victory for him. But look, he's in the second round. But look, the law of the sport says if a punch is landed and you're injured by a punch, it's a TKO, and that's what happened. It wasn't a head crash. We all watched it. We all seen it, and he should have had that belt around his waist.
Well, Jeff Fenech, we thought rather than us just make comments from afar, someone who has been a 3-time world champion has been a bantamweight, super bantam, featherweight, super featherweight and lightweight boxer in those categories. Fought the great trilogy with the magnificent and great Asuma Nelson. We thought if ever someone would put some clarity on this, it would be one of the great world boxers of all time. I have no problem in saying that. And we thank you very much for joining us, Jeff Fenech.
Hey, pleasure, Sam. Thank you, guys.
Don, you say quite rightly. You say it's a subjective thing, but they took 30 minutes to review. That's like reviewing.
I saw it, and I agree. I thought the Australian boy won.
No, it's not. It's the punch that stopped the fight. They said was from a head clash. That was proven not to be the case, right. And so it's like the goal scoring adjudication in AFL. The goal umpire says it's a goal, and the vision says it actually wasn't. They take the vision into account, or else why have it? And he is absolutely corrupt and rorted out of it. There's no doubt of that.
It's like a political election, isn't it?
But why would he? Again, that's a big statement by you. Corrupted out of it.
No, it is. That is
so what do you say? So why would they make that decision? Is there money riding on this with regard to betting or punting?
The whole world of corruption revolves around money. It would be money. Just follow the money, Don. Everything that is corrupt in this world is about money. Lest you disagree with that. So we're on to the sport. We will come back to the other topics, but seeing as we're on sport,
There's nothing much going on in sport at the moment, is
Oh,
it? There
well,
just seems to be a bit of a lull.
I've just got a couple of things to
You
say.
said you had something.
I've got,
desperate to
but
go
I'm
with.
just making that statement.
No, well,
There's
what you
not
wanted to
much
say.
going on. You tell me what's going on
Well, I'm
locally
about-
in sport.
Yes, thank you, Don. I'm about to tell you.
Cricket.
Locally.
Cricket. Oh,
About to
what?
start.
What?
It's about to start.
Well, it's not. It's nothing going.
Okay.
Basketball, women's WNBL, State of Origin last weekend,
State
rugby
of Origin,
league.
of course, yes. That's the big one that's happening at the moment.
You're right, you two?
No. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. We should include him.
No.
It's his show.
You
Oh,
just,
we've been-
no.
Oh, I'm
We were
very
talking
sorry.
shit.
No, not at all, Don. You
Oh.
just said there's nothing going on in sport. I was. Thanks for signalling for the people listening to this. Oh, well, they've got nothing to talk about in sport. I've got plenty to talk about in sport.
Switch off.
In case the biggest golf tournament in the world, what did you do that for? What did you go for?
Why doesn't he get rid of that beard?
I beg your pardon?
The chap that won the Masters.
Why didn't he get rid of that
Chap.
beard?
Good chap.
The chap. I'm just repeating what you said.
No,
Come on,
hang on.
keep going. Sorry.
How about I just explain what I'm talking about, and then you can say, why doesn't he get rid of the beard? You just said, I said, now there's the biggest golf why doesn't he get rid of the beard? We talking about his wife or his girl, or what are we talking about? I'm telling you now, Dustin Johnson just won probably the most prestigious tournament in the world, the US Masters, played at
Augusta.
Augusta. Oh, gee, your concentration level. What you put in your
Well,
little-
at least I got Augusta. You couldn't.
Well, I was wondering what you put in your little satchel
Don't
then.
worry about what I do, Johnny. Just
Oh, I
worry
see.
about yourself.
Okay, so a couple of points about Augusta.
Okay.
Dustin Johnson just probably head and shoulders above anyone else playing the game. Yes?
Didn't you bring Justin Johnson up a few weeks ago?
Dustin!
Dustin?
Yes.
He's going out with Wayne Gretzky's
He's married to
daughter.
her.
I didn't know what you were talking about. Were they sniffing something?
Yeah, just let me get on to this.
yeah.
Let me get on to this, Don.
Is this the same fellow?
Yes, I'm about to.
thank
If
you.
you just let me explain why I've brought him up. Dustin Johnson won the US Masters at Augusta just 2 days ago, right? And he's done all these interviews. What people forget, and I'm not trying to rain on his parade because he'll never hear this, I don't think. But what people forget is he has been suspended multiple times for recreational drug use, marijuana and cocaine. He has been out with and ruined 3 marriages to fellow professionals by having affairs with their wives. Now, I'm not judging him. I couldn't care less. But no one ever brings any of that stuff up, even if it is to say what a fantastic turnaround. He's had a couple of dark periods in his life and he's made good. Why don't they bring it up and put a bit of context in it? And what Wayne Gretzky, his wife's father, said about it. Wayne Gretzky, his wife's father. Have I got that wrong, Robert?
Yeah, it's his father-in-law. Yeah, that's right.
His wife's father.
Well,
Why
why
did
did you just
you-
say...
you looked
I'm
as though you were trying to
follow
calculate-
Wife's father and all the rest. Why wouldn't you just say
father-in-law.
Wayne Gretzky's father-in-law?
No, Wayne Gretzky, his father-in-law. Are we on the air?
Why don't I say that? I said Wayne Gretzky, his wife's father. That's what she is.
Righto, what did he say?
What, you're telling me I should say Wayne Gretzky, his wife's father, said after Dustin Johnson was pinged for the 3rd time taking cocaine, he said, I never thought I'd meet someone dumber than my daughter, but I've just met him before in the lobby, or what words to that effect. He said, I thought my daughter was dumb, but I've just met the dumbest man I've ever met. That was Dustin Johnson. So what a fantastic champion. But just look at
Is he unpopular for that reason?
I'm not sure if he's popular, but he fantastic champion. But how about just a little bit of context about him being suspended several times for drug abuse, for recreational drugs, and philandering with other tour members' wives. Now, Don, you won't understand this. And I don't mean that. I don't mean that.
Yes, you do.
I
In a
do not.
condescending way.
I do not mean it in a condescending way. But Bernhard Langer,
Yeah, he's 60 years old.
62. He qualified.
60 years old. What has that got to do with it?
Well, he qualified. Well,
He's been around since Adam was a boy. I can remember him.
No.
Did he come to Australia in the early days, Bernhard Langer?
He did.
I can.
Or as Ian Chappell used to call him, Bernhard Longer.
Stuart Ginn, I used to follow that. He wore those +4s from Tasmania. Remember Stuart Ginn?
Yeah, I do, Don. I remember
See about
them
the
all.
time of Bernhard Langer?
Yes, Don. Anyhow, I was mentioning Bernhard Longer.
Langer.
Yeah, well, Longer, this is what... So the Rocket here scoffs at you saying he's 62. That's the wrong time to scoff, Rocket, because at 62 to get into the final rounds of the US Masters at 62 and be under the card when you're finished was an Herculean effort. Unfortunately, I've been on this for many years. They banned the long putter. The long putter, I know you probably won't understand what I'm talking about, but the long putter goes up where you anchor it under your chin with your top hand, if you're a right hand, or your left hand. And Mark Allen was absolutely obsessed with this, as I am. And they anchor it like a pendulum, and they ruled it illegal because it's not a natural golf stroke. Bernhard Langer has been using it in the Seniors Tour and uses it still to this day and used it in the Masters. I cannot understand why the people who run this competition, who run world golf, the PGA people, don't say it is illegal, that club, and you cannot use it, and they ban him from using it. It is... You cannot have one set of rules for everyone, and people say, oh, he doesn't anchor it, which is absolute bullshit. There's no point using that long putter unless you anchor it. It is just a contradiction in terms.
So can I
Doesn't Adam Scott, the Australian, use
Yes.
a long
I
shafted
don't know.
putter?
Can I
Yes,
ask
he
a question?
does.
This is a question.
So what's the difference?
Just a minute.
Isn't it now
Don.
shortened a bit, though, to his chest? Is that right?
It's not. So, Don, you make a very good point, Don. Adam Scott won the Masters using the long putter, but it wasn't banned then. They've since banned it because it is a artificial way of overcoming the most difficult part of golf, which is putting. Remember this, Don. You have one club in your bag which is accountable for 50% of the shots, and the other 13 clubs are accountable for the other 50%. Putting is the most important part of the game, and this is an artificial way of overcoming the most difficult part of the game. And it's illegal. They've called it illegal, and yet they still allow him to use it, and they're as weak as water. Weak as
chin.
Why? Well, as I said, I'm not into golf, but why wouldn't you
Check
standardise?
Sam's Instagram for what I'm referring to. His last post. That's not his chin.
Oh,
That's his
mate,
chest.
it's anchored to his top of his chest.
That's his chin.
You put your chin over the butt of the putter and you anchor it to your chest. So it has a pendulum swing. You don't have to make a
But
proper...
why wouldn't you in golf standardise all clubs so everybody plays with the same club?
No, Don.
Why?
Because I'll tell you why, no, Don. Because some people are taller than others, and some people... There's a difference in height. There's some people playing on the tour who are 5'8", and some people who are playing on the tour are 6'6" in the old measurements. So you've got to have a different length of clubs to suit the way you play, but you must make a swing at the ball rather than having a pendulum effect at a putting stroke. Oh. And it has been ruled illegal by the Royal and Ancient, and they still allow people like Langer and Adam Scott, might I say, to use it. Now, someone said, oh, well, was Adam Scott illegal when he wasn't illegal when he won the Masters because it wasn't banned. It has since been banned. And I cannot understand. Well, I can understand because they're weak. They're just weak as water. So that's my thing on sport. Now, the next thing on sport was there was some chat. You got anything on sport? Don?
Yes, I have.
Go ahead.
No.
No, please.
No, after you.
You were looking at me.
No, after you. I didn't even look at you.
I saw you roll your eyes
No,
back
I
at the
did.
top of your cranium and thinking, am I going to stop
You are
talking to
playing
give you
with
a
words.
chance? Go
You are
ahead.
playing with words.
Go ahead. This is your sport topic. Go ahead.
Do you think the international tennis is going to go on in Melbourne this year with coronavirus?
Yes.
You do. Why?
Oh, sorry. Oh, well, because I thought they'll probably get the players to come in January and quarantine him for 2 weeks, and things will push on as.
How many people would be involved, or how many people would be coming in from overseas?
Thousands.
Yeah.
And
tennis players, there'd be thousands. Well, what, 2,000?
2,000 tennis players?
Well, with their entourage.
Oh, well, are they tennis players or their entourage?
Well,
I said thousands would be coming over for the tennis.
No, that's visitors. You're talking about visitors. I'm just talking about players.
Oh, you don't.
They'd have to isolate, wouldn't they?
That's
They'd have to find a place for a couple of thousand.
I just said that.
You think it's going to be practical?
You asked me, Don, rather than just giving an opinion about sport, you asked me, do I think the international tennis, the Australian Open, will go ahead? I said yes, and you said, why? I said, because the tennis players and their entourage, thousands of them, will probably have to go into isolation if it hasn't had an antidote or found a vaccine that can counter the vaccine. If they haven't found that by January or February, they will have to go into quarantine for 2 weeks. That's couple of months off, 3 months off, and maybe it won't be as critical a situation then, but I think it will go on. But that was only my opinion. You seem to disagree with it.
Well, I just think about the practicalities of where would you house 2,000 people in isolation?
Where would you
A hotel.
Oh, fair dinkum.
In Melbourne.
Yeah, we've got hotels that
How
hold...
many hotels you got?
Yeah.
How many? Think that'd improve isolation?
Well, we get...
They wouldn't give security guards.
Yeah, we get the
that's what
security guards that Daniel Andrews employed to Rort the other system. You know, that private security company. Don,
the difference is they're not all coming in as crook. Do you know what I'm trying to say? They're not coming in with the virus.
Well, we
hope not. Yeah, so it's a bit different. It's a little bit easier to manage, I would imagine.
So, okay, can I ask you another question?
Of course, Don, ask as many as you like.
You've got a number of lead-up tournaments.
Yep.
Are those lead-up tournaments going to be brought to Melbourne, or for this year, they're not going to? There's no warm-up or pre-game?
Well, they're thinking of bringing the warm-up tournaments to Melbourne, and unfortunately precluding or excluding the rest of the country from having those warm-up tournaments because of the practicalities of it. Don, Jeff Shedd...
Just hold on. The
Yes,
practicalities of it, there's Perth, Brisbane, Sydney, Adelaide,
Yep.
and
All the
Tasmania.
states. All the states, Don.
You're going to run that over in Melbourne, 6
I don't
different
know.
tournaments, 7 tournaments.
Maybe they could get a paradigm from the AFL. They ran a competition just in one state, so maybe they can take a lead from them. Don, Jeff Shedd, you could convert Jeff Shedd into a giant billeted hub, if you like, to quarantine all the players and their staff. You could fit 10,000 people in there, secluded and tested and kept quarantined for the 2 week period if you wanted to run the
so they
tournament.
could have Federer and Serena Williams. They're all on bunk beds.
Yeah, Serena and that's right, the Williams sisters. Together, you could have everyone in there mucking in together, Don. Mucking in together. Free condoms at the door. Free condoms at the door. So just name
No
it.
petitions.
That's what happens in the Olympics after the
I was
Olympics.
just going to say, it's just like the Olympics.
That's the first thing they give you is your pass to get in, and then they give you a swag of condoms just in case you want.
You'd know.
Well, I haven't been to the Olympics, Don.
Oh, that's right, so you'd know.
Well, I just know from anecdotal evidence from people I know who have been there.
I see.
I
Did you
know.
watch the State of Origin last week, the ladies?
State of Origin ladies.
Yeah.
No, don't worry about the
big event.
Don't worry
events.
about
No, that was on the weekend. It actually was a good game. And you got to compliment the rugby league people because not like Aussie rules, they haven't. I think there's only 4 teams that play in their actual game, so you're getting the best of the best. And the game between New South Wales and Queensland last week was very, very entertaining.
What was the score?
Queensland won, but very entertaining. There was some great play, and the women were very, very good. I think it lends itself to women where it's not a skillful rugby. I know. I might get into
the State of Origin lends itself to women rather than the males.
No, it lends itself to Aussie rules is a very skillful game to be able to hold that ball. I mean, even the top players muck up the disposal of the ball, let alone ladies who only have played it for a short period of time.
Ladies.
Women.
Yes, ladies.
Whereas there is not that degree of skill in rugby league as what is required in Aussie rules. And the women did exceptionally well. Gee, they handed out those front rowers handed out some heavy hits.
Did they?
One girl from Queensland showed amazing speed, the full back.
What was her name? Just that girl.
Well, she was tall, but
that tall girl.
Very, very, very quick.
And had
Very,
obviously a
very
lasting
quick.
opinion on you, Donald, because you don't know
I
her
don't
name.
but I actually sat down and watched that, but I don't know their names.
Why didn't you jot it down so you could bring it
Why?
up on the podcast and tell people how good this tall girl from New South Wales was?
Take notes tomorrow night, Don, and report back.
No, the men are on tomorrow night.
When are the women? Is women done?
No, I think the
wasn't
women
it
are now
wasn't it
finished.
a
They play
curtain
one
raiser?
game.
Oh, right.
So I thought I'd bring this up. There's been now a couple of early Oh, no, go ahead. Sorry.
It's going to be interesting tomorrow night, isn't it? One each.
It's all a power play between you two, isn't it?
No,
Bullshit.
it's not. It's got nothing. He just doesn't explore a topic. Anything that he
I
is
thought you'd
not
finished.
interested in.
The whole thing is a power play.
I thought you'd finished on the state of origin. Let's
I've
speak
got to
ad
adapt to
nauseum
him.
on it. Go ahead.
Bullshit.
Go ahead.
You're as bad as
Bullshit
each other.
what?
You're as bad as each other.
I'm on to the state of origin. I thought you'd finished. Go ahead.
Well, it is on again this week. Just doesn't seem to have the same impact as what it is when it's played through the season. I don't know if you've watched it, but
Only
I've
because
watched
of the crowds. I think it's been fantastic.
It's hard to get involved in the first one in Adelaide. I didn't mind the last one.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, I think the
I
crowd
think
is
it's going to be a good one in Queensland because the Queensland are very parochial, so that
You
might
stagger me. You honestly
No,
stagger
this one's
me.
in Sydney.
And
This
so
one's
do
in
you,
Sydney.
Rocket.
Sydney.
Yeah.
Yeah, well rehearsed, well researched, Don.
Is it?
Is it?
I don't know.
You just have a chat between yourselves
I'll
so
look
you
it
can
up.
work out what
I
you're
thought it
talking
was-
about.
Yeah,
I thought it was
stand by.
Queensland.
You might be right.
You stagger me, seriously, Don.
Listen,
We're just waffling.
all you do is put shit on people.
No, I'm going about to tell you why you stagger me. And Rocket, you stagger me. Are you telling me that the standard of the state of origin is diminished by not having a crowd?
No, he's talking about the broadcast atmosphere.
I'm not talking about the broadcast.
Don
I'm
is.
talking about the game.
Don was.
The game is
Rod,
just
where's
as
the
good
game
whether there's
played,
people
please?
there or not.
Thanks, Rod.
Stand by. It's pretty embarrassing.
So we finished.
Did you
on-
make much, or you're not into AFL football, are you? The trading that's
well,
just gone through.
We're going to get someone in next week about AFL trading because you know nothing about it.
Well,
And I don't either.
yeah,
How
but
it works. I'm not interested is the short answer to that. No, I'm not.
I find it, try to be empathetic, but I find it very hard. Why would a player leave his club to go to a better club to win a premiership?
You've just answered your own question.
No, I'm posing that question. I'm finding it hard to relate.
Oh,
to
Queensland home game.
Sorry?
Queensland home game. You're right.
Oh, thanks very much.
Oh, all right. I told you. He didn't say it. It was me.
I mean,
He what?
you.
I didn't say anything.
No, but you question. You sow a seed of doubt.
No, what my doubt was that why you think the game is less appealing on television, whether there's a crowd there or not. They play it with the same intensity and the same skill or otherwise, just whether there's a crowd there or not. I don't know what the crowd's got to do with it. Nothing. So if you I'd hate to move on if you haven't finished the topic. Have you finished the topic?
Did you watch this 2 State of Origin
No.
games? That head issue came up again.
Good. Yes.
Well, we had Cameron Munster going off. Now, he's a real playmaker from Storm, the fullback for Queensland. And that may have been the difference. Now, you had Boyd Cordner go off the first game, although he came back on. He wasn't allowed to play. And I don't know whether he's going to play next year, Boyd Cordner, but Cameron Munster's going to be a loss this week.
Yes.
You're not even interested.
I am, mate. I'm just wondering where this is all headed. You're just chatting to
I'm
yourself. You are just chatting to yourself. You said, I don't know if Cameron Munster's going to go on. That's just up in the air. And I noticed he had a
looking
head.
at you when I was directing those comments, and if you were to get a little bit involved, it would help.
I get involved with
You
the
could
topics.
stretch the. You could stretch the
Don,
topic.
Don. I get involved in the topics I want to bring up, hoping you'll engage, and you bring up the topics you want to speak about.
Give me a topic.
Okay, so speaking of AFL, there's a couple of early nominations for AFL Hall of Fame people. Was it Hall of Fame or life members?
Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame. Can I give you two of them? Caroline Wilson has been suggested to be nominated for the Hall of Fame. What a fantastic idea. Now, that is what a step in the right direction. Mick Sheehan will be bemused at that. He hasn't been nominated, and he's actually retired.
Will you hit the button, please?
Why? Just explain to people why we're laughing, Don. It's not. It's why are we laughing? It's not at who.
Who
not
nominated?
Who we're talking about.
Who
it's why we're
suggested
talking about it.
Caroline Wilson
We're dudding
should
Don
be-
because Don gave us a bit of inside information here.
Oh, did he? I didn't know that.
He's
Who
guilty.
suggested Caroline Wilson should be in the Hall of Fame? Mind you, as I say, Mick Sheehan's not even nominated, and he's been out of the business, and he's probably played Miss Wilson on a break as far as what he's done in AFL football. But maybe the person inducting Caroline could tell us how she mocked disabled sport, or she reduced a fellow woman broadcaster at an AFL function to tears by taking the piss out of her, or how she traduced the reputation of the Essendon Football Club for no solid evidence at all. I mean, that'd be a great thing to put on her CV when she goes up. Who suggested she become a Hall of Fame member? Mick Sheehan, as I say, has not even been nominated, and he's been head of the AFL media. He's been the chief football writer. He's had a talk show, the inaugural talk show on the station Rod Law he has started on Fox Footy. He has a house at Sorrento. In fact, I think...
So does Caroline Wilson.
Exactly. She's followed in his footsteps, and yet she has been nominated, I think, or someone... Who put her up?
Who else did Don tell us was going to get nominated?
Well, another man, I don't know if Don nominated this person, but Ted Hopkins. Ted Hopkins
Again, we're not laughing at Ted. We're laughing at the fact that we're dudding Don on his information.
Ted Hopkins has been mooted that he has been suggested as a Hall of Famer. A Hall of Famer by whom, Don? Who suggested he become a Hall of Famer? Who? Oh, Jeff Slattery. Did you? So Jeff Slattery thought that Ted Hopkins should be a Hall of Famer. Ted Hopkins, who's played for a minute of AFL football, was fantastic in the 1970 grand final when he
Why are you so quiet?
got a lot of hand passes from his teammates and they won the game against Collingwood. But he's been put up not for his football prowess, I'm told, but because he started Champion Data, which gives all the stats about football. Why that would qualify you to be in the Hall of Fame, I don't know. What has Champion Data done besides giving you a whole lot of meaningless stats about football and tackles and hard ball gets and kicks and marks and tap-outs? Who needs to know all that stuff? How's that improved the game? But someone's put... I think Slats put him up, did he, Don? Slattery?
Is he on the committee?
Slattery's on the committee.
Slats is on the committee.
Yeah.
Is he?
So
I don't
there's
know.
a-
Is he? Don't. Is he? Me?
So
You're
there's
the
a-
one that gave us all his information.
So keep an eye on those two, Caroline Wilson and Ted Hopkins.
Well,
That's-
I could say.
If that should see the end of the Hall of Fame
think we're finished then.
as an event. So
Talking about personalities, you and Fiona Byrne, how's that going?
is this sport?
It's topic. It's a topic.
No, we're going to get on to. What we're going to do is we're going to come back to the topics. I had a whole lot of topics to talk about, and unless you consider that sport, Don, I don't think. Is there anything else in sport? We've done Dustin Johnson. We've done. We spoke to the great Jeff Fenech about the fight, and we're going to speak. Yeah, what? What? You didn't think I saw him there? I'm just pointing off. Our next guest here. I don't know if we've.
This is why I suggested we have a camera.
Our next guest, Don.
Rules committee meets tomorrow night.
Don.
What rules committee?
The AFL.
Don.
The game will be buggered even more. What are they going to discuss?
Trying to get to increase scoring.
Don.
The game is just
hello.
a shadow of what it used to be, Rod.
Oh, unbelievable, isn't it?
Okay.
I just hope that if they're going to change the rules, they have to restore the old rules that didn't work. You can't just keep adding new rules.
We made a mistake. Let's go back to the way it was instead of.
That's what I meant by restoring it. Yeah, you can't just keep adding.
You realise
rule
when
changes.
we were young children, we could umpire, we could play the game and umpire it ourselves. It was so simple.
I know. Imagine
When
trying
we
to
were
explain the game
growing up,
to a
playing
visitor.
scratch match. Beg your pardon?
Imagine trying to explain the game to an international
You
visitor.
cannot. I tried to explain it to an international, and the international had a few brains and asked me about, you just said this before, I said it's a matter of interpretation. And that's the problem. Our game will never go international.
How good is it without Sam? How good is it without Sam?
Oh, shit, what a pleasure. Who have we got for as a guest?
We got Sam Solomon.
Oh, great.
How timely.
And can we interview him?
Absolutely.
Great. We'll have
Not
a
that
great
he gives a
interview.
shit what I think.
Can you press the button, Rod?
Okay.